So this is a video I'm called to make by my deities Lilith and Hecate, namely Lilith mainly, but you will see from what I'm going to say how I'm kind of seeing the lines blurred between them, and there is good reason for that. I'm going to get into it. This may be a bit of a heavy video, I don't know. Please bear in mind that this is my understanding. I am not here dismissing your understanding, and I will not be, dismissing other people's beliefs, essentially, okay? I am also not saying that Hecate and Lilith are not their own respective beings from their own respective cultures with their own histories and different personalities and autonomies, etc. However, there is more than meets the eye here, right? So, without further ado, let's talk about Lilith, Hecate, their connection, and somebody called Lilith the Elder. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. I am Sarah, that divination witch. This channel is a community. If you want to join, hit subscribe. It's free, you may as well. If you'd like to support me in the channel, all of my links are below, and I'd be grateful if you could take a look. I do offer lots of readings. I've got Patreon teaching on there, courses, a community, all sorts going on. So yes, I'd be very grateful if you could check it out. Thank you. Let's start at the beginning. A very good place to start, as they say in The Sound of Music. But it is, in case you are new here, in case this is the first video you have ever seen of mine. Right, let's start with an understanding of things. Who is Hecate? Who is Lilith? Okay, well, Hecate is, typically speaking, the goddess of witchcraft, the goddess of the liminal space, the goddess of the restless dead. If you Google her, that's what you will find. You will find that she was from the Hellenic pantheon, typically via Google. That's her most common mythos, her most common history, and the one we know the most about. But Hecate is not just a Greek goddess. Hecate is more than that. She transcends that and she outlasts that as well. Her temple today, I believe there's one in Sicily, and there's some ruins in Legina, which is in modern day Turkey, Asia Minor. Her, as Hecate, her name, her known as Hecate, was found in Anatolia, which is like Asia Minor, Turkey. She has links with so many different beings, gods and goddesses, cultures. I mean, if we're talking just the name Hecate, it predates Greek times, and she is found in Anatolia, like I said, and then she transcends that into the Roman times, and then her name and qualities, transfer into Diana and stuff. I mean, it's very complex, okay, but Hecate, if you look her up, you'll typically find, she's this Greek goddess of witchcraft and all that stuff, but she's more than that. She also had cult worship, the Chaldean oracles, who basically said she was the world's soul, and I do believe that now. She has a foot in every door because she is a goddess of the liminal space. She takes many faces, and she has many epithets, many sides to her. She is called upon for many things, from protection to baneful stuff, from motherly kind of stuff to more primal kind of stuff. I mean, she's got epithets of her named, like, to do with baneful workings, like the filth eater, Borophorus or something off the top of my head. So she can get nitty gritty if she needs to. She's got Dracania, she's got Gorgois, which is like Medusa, dragons, Medusa, she's got so many sides to her. So she's got these harsh sides, these soft sides, and all this jazz. And with her being a liminal goddess, even in Greek times, like Hellenic Greek times, they would have altars for her at crossroads, at doorways and gateways and entryways. And yeah, she is the goddess of the in-between. And therefore, to me, piecing everything together in my gnosis, my understanding, and on my journey with her, she is a face of the divine feminine. And now I am understanding, in my view, the divine feminine is the creator of everything and everyone. The divine feminine is, the mother of everything, the mother of the universe. She can be Hecate, she can be Lilith, she can be Aphrodite, Kali, Freya, so many gods and goddesses. And this is just what I've come to believe on my path and on my journey. So that's kind of who Hecate is, as best as I can. She is everything. I mean, if you dig into different cultures, you will see so many shared qualities, and she's just got so much in common with other deities, even like Isis as an example. Isis has a side of her that's linked with dogs and the dog star Sirius, just like Hecate. And you could say that's linked with Diana too, but Diana's also linked with Hecate. They're all one and the same, and it's not to say that these different cultures, especially ancient cultures, thought that. I'm not saying that was the case, because I've been accused of that before. We have to respect, and we know that different time periods had different cultures, different areas of the world, and not just of the world, but of even the country you were in, depending on the city, even narrowing it down to that, the city-state, or even the village, depended on your local deities, who and what you worshipped. So I'm not saying ancient peoples believed this, but in a modern context, and all the knowledge that's readily available at our fingertips, thank you, Mr. Google. But on a serious note, we're more connected now than ever. Why wouldn't deities be connected, So, bearing that all in mind, Lilith. She's an amazing goddess too. I do call her a goddess. Yes, she's also a demon, all right? I've got no shame in saying that. I do not dismiss that side of her. She is a left-hand path deity, arguably the left-hand path. The mother of the left-hand path, you could say. For me, I've been studying Hermetic Kabbalah, and then I went on to left-hand path Kabbalah, essentially. I've done path workings in the Cliffoth, aka Kleepot. Tried to pronounce it all at once there, which is basically the dark side of the tree. In Kabbalah, you've got the tree of life, and the Cliffoth, the tree of death. That's the condensed version. Many videos on the channel about it. Go have a look if you're interested. Some people say that Lilith is the whole tree, that Lilith rules the whole thing. And I can see that. A part of me does think that. But there are also, and most definitely 100%, aspects of Lilith that have certain realms within the Cliffoth, like Gamaliel is represented by Lilith and the moon. It is a realm of illusions, very moon energy. It is a divine feminine realm as well. Then Satariel, further up the tree, is said to be where Lilith keeps her throne. But it is not just Lilith's area. Depending on your view, depending on your understanding of things, that could also be where Babylon keeps her throne. And who is Babylon? I mean, I've got videos on her too. But her and Lilith are very interconnected. Babylon is the Scarlet Woman. She is a face of the divine feminine as well. Perhaps a more destructive face, perhaps a more sexual face, although Lilith is very sexual too. They are similar but different. And then Lilith, she has sisters, Nemar, Agrat, Bat, Malat, Esheth Zenenum, probably pronouncing them wrong, but different succubi, whatever, that are said to be Lilith, but said to be her sisters, but said to be her daughters, and yeah, it's complex in a way. Now, Lilith, oh, where do I begin? All right, yeah, she's a goddess. Yeah, she's a demon. That's her demon aspects. That's, if you're delving into the left-hand path, you'll probably learn about all that stuff. But she is more than that. She's more than Judaism as well, although a lot of her mythos does come from Judaism. Yes, she is the adversary in Judaism. People don't even speak her name sometimes, even to this day. Modern Jews don't even say her name, you know. There's a lot of fear around her because it was said that she was responsible for the unaliving of children and stealing men's seed and creating demon babies. She's said to be mother of demons and all of this. I take mythos in general with a pinch of salt, but there is no denying there is a side of Lilith that can be that way, of course, you know. However, Lilith is much more than that as well. And I'm not talking here the Sumerian Lilith, the Babylonian Lilith too, or I'm not talking her links with Lamashtu, who was a Mesopotamian deity that was around before Lilith and serves the same role, essentially. I'm not talking that. I'm talking about Lilith as who she is, as one face of the divine feminine, one face of the world soul. There is an aspect of Lilith that she herself wanted me to talk about, and it's been brewing on my mind, and so I'm making this video. Lilith the Elder. You may or may not have heard of this. Even in occult spaces, left-hand path spaces, some people talk about this. There is Lilith the Elder and Lilith the Younger. Lilith the Elder is the more primordial Lilith. The Lilith that isn't here being all a seductress and, you know, the demoness of whores, or whatever you want to say it like, basically. Lilith the Elder is primal. Lilith the Elder is the primal womb of creation. Lilith the Younger is said to be, sometimes it's said to be that she is Namar. I see them as separate. There are stories where Namar apparently was the one responsible for the Watchers, aka the Grigori, Azazel and his brothers falling from grace, you know, when they mated with human women and created the Nephilim, which is said to be abominations. Apparently it was Namar who seduced Azazel and his brothers and did that. I take that with a pinch of salt. Apparently Namar, in a sense, is a consort of those angels or fallen angels. Famously, it is said that Lilith and Samael are a couple. And some teachings say how Adam and Eve were in the garden, you know, that age-old tale, Garden of Eden. We all know the tale if you're watching this probably. You know, Lilith's meant to be the first woman. Then she absconded, let's say, and was cast out of Eden and wasn't allowed back in and blah, blah, blah. She found Samael. They became kind of the adversarial couple against Adam and Eve. But I don't know, something never sat right about that. Me personally, my gnosis, my understanding of things, I'm going to tell you guys now, candidly. I've made a few notes and I'm going to tell you my reasoning for some things. So first and foremost, I know that Lilith and Samael are a divine couple. Like any divine couple, they can be separate, they can work together, they do at the very least get along, but they complement each other. They, you could argue, complete one another. I'm not saying I know everything here, okay? This is my understanding, and through being so close with Lilith, I know that there is a deep love and respect there, and it's mutual. Now, Samael, he's not even a fallen angel. He is an angel. He's said to be the poison of God, and yet he is found within the Qliphoth. He is found within those teachings, and every sphere is ruled by a demon. And yet, the sphere of Samael is ruled by him. Admittedly, Andramelech is found in that sphere too. But Andramelech was once a god. I've got a video about him too. Samael is still within that. And the lines are just so blurred to me. Now, Samael is an adversary in his own way. He is said to be an angel, the poison of God. He is supposed to, in religious texts, they say, deliver the justice of God in a way, the stuff that God doesn't want to do himself. Samael does the dirty work kind of thing. I kind of see that from my experience with him. And I do very much believe he owns the moniker Poison of God. Because my time in Samael's sphere, or Qliphoth, was one of the toughest things I ever did. I'm sharing it slowly, privately, my journey. It really was a purge the poison moment. It was very triggering, very upsetting, and that was all on purpose to get the trauma to be processed to purge the poison. That's what he did for me. And I can only say, well, that was my experience. It wasn't cruel, it was practical, and it was necessary. Cruel to be kind. It wasn't like being punished by a demon or Satan or something. It was working through my own pain, and he assisted in that. Now, it is said that they are a divine couple, however, Lilith and Samael. Now, through my own gnosis and working with Lucifer, I see Lucifer and Samael as two sides of the same coin. Lucifer was never an angel. He just wasn't an angel. Lucifer was adopted into the Bible, I forgot exactly when, but one of the translations, something got mistranslated or whatever. You see, Lucifer was a Roman god. He was a god of light. He's the morning star, personification of Venus. Arguably, you could say he is the masculine side of Venus, the masculine side of creation. If Venus is love, lots of love goddesses associated with Venus, from Aphrodite to Freya to Inanna Ishtar, the original. She is represented by the morning star too. Samael is the evening star, and that's within canonical texts that he is the evening star. There are others, of course, that are as well, like King Payman. If we're going into the Goetia, he and Lucifer are said to be very close, and there's kind of reason for that, because Payman is represented by the evening star and Lucifer's the morning star. It's a different side of the same energy. Lucifer told me, and when I say it like this, I don't mean I sit and have conversations face to face with him. I mean through divination, through gnosis, through my gifts and time and suggestions, that Samael is his shadow. We all have a shadow. As humans, in our psyche, Carl Jung talks about it, shadow work. We have a dark side, whether that is our anger, pain, depression, sadness, insecurities, things we don't want to face. It is the poison of God, isn't it? It's our poison. That's our shadow. And so Samael is Lucifer's shadow. He is to me anyways. I'm not saying that's all there is to Lucifer, but yes, he was never an angel. He's the morning star. His Roman name was Lucifer. That got adopted into the Bible eventually. Jesus Christ even talks about being a representative of the morning star, because he was a representative of the light, because Lucifer is the light. He is the true light. And let me tell you from my personal experience, he has lifted the veil on so many things for me, even on a personal level. Just a quick thing. I had some occultists, and I've mentioned it before, come after me, calling me a fat Wiccan that I stabbed my foot in graveyards. Turns out what they believe derives from Wicca. And they may not believe that themselves. You don't have to, my love. I don't have an ego on me that, like, I'm not insulted by being a Wiccan. I'm not a Wiccan, by the way, but whatever, call me that. The cult of Tubal Cain comes from Wicca. That is an aside. I'll talk about that at some point. But there's some edgy people out there who talk about Cain and Tubal Cain, like, oh, it's the god of the witches, and that's something for another day. Okay, park that. We'll talk about that another time. But yes, Lucifer is the true light. I talked about that quickly because he showed that to me. He reveals things to you. Nobody can lie. Nobody can lie around you. If you've got Lucifer in your life, yeah, if you've truly got him in your life, yeah, no one can lie around you. I'm not saying Lucifer doesn't have dark sides, given that he has been demonized. There is part of him that owns that. There is a lot to him that I don't even know about yet, because it's very early days with me and him and truly accepting him into my life. People use Luciferianism and Satanism as like synonymous, but it's not. It's not. So, anyways, look, that's Lucifer. Lucifer Samael. Now, where does Lilith and Hecate come into this? So, I've already explained about how complex Hecate is. She's got a foot in everything. She's everywhere, does everything. And then we've got Lilith, complex as well. And we've got Lilith the Elder, the primal energy. Well, Hecate, I see her as primal. I see her as beyond the name Hecate. She is not just Hecate, she's all the goddesses. So I'm trying to wrap my own mind around that lately, and I've been sharing it on the channel, but she's everyone and everything. She came to me as Hecate, and that's how I know her, but she's more than Hecate. She is chaos. She is Tiamat. She is the creator. She, there are other names for her, that's just off the top of my head, okay? She is Diana. Now, Lilith the Elder. Where do I start? There is a fringe belief within Judaism. It is called Lunaric Kabbalah. It's called that because a rabbi, Isaac Lunar, I believe that's how you say his name, in the 1500s came up with his gnosis, his theory on Lilith, okay? And it links in with Gnosticism. But Gnosticism/Judaism, to me anyways. Look, I might be getting some of this wrong, but bear with me. You can look it up yourself if you want. Look up that. Look up Lilith the Elder, please. I implore you. But Lilith the Elder is not the demon of sexual things, of, whoredom. Lilith the Elder is primal feminine energy. She is the wife to Adam. And no, I'm not talking about Adam, like Adam and Eve Adam. I'm talking about Adam Kadmon. Adam Kadmon is a figure within this teaching. And it's said in a nutshell, he is the divine spark. He is God's avatar. He is a personification of the divine spark of God, and he helped create the universe. Our universe and others, there are said to be 10 different dimensions, something like that. And basically Adam is the masculine, Lilith is the feminine, and from their union comes everything. So, to me, Adam Kadmon is Lucifer, is Samael. So if Samael is Lucifer's shadow, and if Lucifer is a name for the spark, Adam Kadmon is another name for the spark of God, of source of creation, a spark of life. Lilith is the womb of creation. Lilith the Elder is the womb of creation. She is primordial. Hecate is also the womb of creation and primordial. Other goddesses, Tiamat popped off in my head, primordial. Chaos, the Greeks called her chaos, primordial. There are others that are primordial. Even if we go to other mythologies, Shintoism sticks in my mind because I have worked with Izanami no Makoto. She is the primordial womb of life, and her husband Izanagi would be the spark. There's always a feminine and a masculine coming together to create life. The primordial womb is the mother of all, the creator of all, because she births our life. But there is a spark that comes alongside that. That is also part of the creation, and that is Lucifer, that is Adam Kadmon, that is the other side of Samael. That is part of creation too. Because although I love the divine feminine, and yes, she is our creator, she needs the spark of the masculine. I believe the feminine created the masculine. That's my thought. You don't have to believe that, of course not. But I believe the feminine, aka Hecate, was so primal that she created her own masculine to go alongside her. That's what I personally believe that, okay? But each their own, okay? So, if we have that gnosis there in mind, okay, what I would also say is the sexual side of Lilith. Now, we need a sexual side to reproduce, okay, so that's valid, but the darker side, let's say it like that, the dark side of Lilith, not just the sexual side, but the one that is capable of bad things, that is the shadow of the feminine. So if Samael's the shadow of Lucifer, Lilith, in my view, as in the nasty Lilith, let's put it like that, the one that would unalive kids, would be the shadow of Hecate. Because whether we like it or not, I don't like it, but we've got to face facts. People do die, and tragedies happen even to the kids, as effed up as it is. That's the universe. The universe doesn't feel like us. The universe just is, and we can't argue with that, because there's always a feminine and masculine, regardless of what you identify as gender-wise or whatever. That's the makeup of reality. There's always a feminine and masculine. It's fact. There's always life and death. Fact. That's why in Gnosticism, when Sophia tried to branch off and do her own thing to go against the facts, it effed up. That's their theory. But I'm talking big picture stuff. So we have the spark and the womb. We have the shadow of both of them and the light side of both of them. And that is ultimately my understanding of the connotations and links between Hecate and Lilith, but also my piecing together and my understanding of what the creator is, who the creator is, okay? This is through my gnosis and my journey. Now, there are paths out there that I have encountered, and people out there that I have encountered that I believe have come to this same conclusion as well. I think there's more of us out there than maybe some people realise. There are ancient teachings out there that show a feminine and masculine, like I've already said. Think of the Japanese, Izanami, Izanagi, even Tiamat and her consort. It's a thing, right? Creation, gods and goddesses, it's a gnosis, and I think there's more people understanding this. But on the left-hand path side, I'm going to just spit facts. I've came across people who believe this, and I think they were given the information. I think they have come to the same conclusions, but I don't feel it's wholly right. As in, I can't say who's right and wrong, okay? I can't. Because there's people out there who listen to me, probably don't agree with me, and we can find our own way. What I will say though, there's something not quite right about it, my gut instinct. I would implore you to make your own mind up. I will not name names because I made a promise essentially that I would never name names of these things. But if you know, you know, especially when it comes to Hecate and Lucifer, okay? There are teachings out there that talk about it. Make your own mind up around that, but for me, something doesn't sit right with that. And also with regards to Lucifer, Hecate and Belial, King Belial, that's what I'll say. King Belial, that's another kettle of fish. You see, for things to be created, there needs to be a void space, there needs to be a nothingness, a chaos energy for things to come out of. And to some people, King Belial or Belial is someone who represents that because of who he is on the left-hand path. I can see that, and I can totally agree with that. But I just try not to, I don't know, I don't mention it because of these things. I do feel just like that understanding I've got of Lucifer and Lilith, etc., and Samael, when it comes to the King Belial stuff, that could be set. That could be other deities I can't think of off the top of my head, but the primal lawlessness, let's say, is what he represents, and that is the void space, that is the space of potential, the space that exists outside of things, the Wild West of the spiritual world, you could say. Now, I'm careful what I say, but there are teachings out there about that. There are also teachings out there about Diana and Lucifer. The whole gospel of witches is built upon that. So other people have come to this gnosis, they truly have. Again, take that with a pinch of salt, although that is older than the other things I hinted at. I would still take it with a pinch of salt and make your own mind up on all of this. I had to come to my own conclusion, even though, you know, when I was coming to this conclusion, I'll be frank, basically, I reached out to certain individuals and just was met with hostility. It is what it is. That's why something doesn't sit right with me if you're going to be so hostile about things. Yeah. But I did say I would never ever speak of them. I promised myself, and I said it to them as well, that I wouldn't ever interact with them ever again. And that's that. So I am wary of that, but make your mind up. It might be for you. At the end of the day, if it's for you, I am not here telling you what's right and wrong in that context. It just doesn't sit right with me. But you might have listened to this whole thing and thought, what a crock of shit. What is this woman talking about? And that is fine. That's fine. I implore you to make your own mind up, okay? Because like I've said in the video, Lilith is a woman of her own, a goddess of her own, a demoness of her own, an energy of her own. And Hecate is a goddess of her own as well, okay? They're from different cultures, from technically different time periods as well. You don't have to think of it like I do, but I thought this was interesting to talk about, and I felt the goddesses wanted me to. And wanted me because in a way I was afraid to talk about it because of said experiences I've hinted at, but I can't silence myself speaking my truth. So this is my truth, my gnosis and my understanding. You can have yours, okay? If you've got any thoughts or anything you want to add, please do. Leave a comment, ask questions, help each other out. I encourage that, okay? If you made it this far, cheers. You know what to do. Check out the channel for more, subscribe, all that jazz. I'd appreciate it. And yes, until next time, stay safe and stay witchy. Bye.